my opinion, Grim Fandango is the best point-and-click adventure game of all time.
Hunter, what are you cackling about?
This is a completely unserious remark that popped into my head. I'm like, even over 12 minutes?
You know, Hunter, I think it's really close. Like, it's neck and neck. Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the HGO podcast. One of your hosts today, Ethan, and joining me, as always, are my good friends Kyle.
Hello.
And Hunter. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing just swell.
It's nearly over, guys. The game apocalypse is nearly over for one more week. We're holding out hope, guys. How are you doing? How are you dealing in these dire times? The drought, the famine. How are you coping?
I played Mario RPG. That was cool.
You
Good
horrible,
job, man.
horrible person.
It's a good
Hunter,
game,
we're
Ethan.
not supposed to be playing it. I was told that we're supposed to buy it and then stick it on the shelf and then never play it. That was what I was told.
You were
Well,
told.
whoever told you that is a moron.
Yeah.
Great. Perfect.
But,
It's a good video game.
I'm sure it is.
yeah, it was neat. I can see why kids would have been. Yeah, it would have been like a gateway game for them back in the day.
Gateway drug. Hell yeah, dude. Got to get that
I mean, I think-
RPG.
I think I brought this up in the Mario RPG episode, but I mean, I played that game on the Wii's Virtual Console, and that was a game that I just played in and out forever for like a year straight.
Mm.
Hell yeah.
It's a
Oh,
great
yeah.
video game, dude.
I'll get to it eventually, you know. It's on the list. It's like 6
Broski,
million.
it's 10 hours.
Yeah, well, it's like 6 million down my list. Like, I'll get to it eventually. We'll figure it out. We're not here
Sorry
to
that
talk about good games
PS3
anyway.
games are ahead of it.
Dude, here's the thing, right? I'm new PC. I'm building, for those of you who are unaware, I don't think I mentioned it on the podcast yet. I'm planning on building a new PC around June-ish. It's going to be in June. And I don't know why. There's a part of me, because my PS3 has been sitting on my desk here for like the past 8 months, 9 months. And I'm like, I kind of want my PC to go there, so I need to get rid of the PS3. So I'm like, it's going to go in a cupboard, so if I don't play stuff now, I'm never going to do it. So I'm using the drought to get through some PS3 games. I've had a blast. I've had some good times. I played Bentley's Hat Pack on the PS3. That was a thing. I played Jack 2. Turns out I still hate that game. That's fantastic. And then I played Jack 3, which I will now say that my opinion has changed. It's slightly more positive. I would call Jack 3 a good game, ladies and gentlemen. Jack 3, it's pretty good. It's not as good as Jack 1. Still the best. Still a fantastic video game. Jack 2, garbage. Still don't like it. The checkpoints are terrible. Like, who thought that game was fun? It's not. But I'll get to it. I've got like 3 more PS3 games, Kyle. I'm nearly done. I'll get to it. Switch will be next. Maybe. We'll see.
But-
Who knows? But we're not here to talk about good games. We're here to talk about mediocre ones. At least that's what the critics said. Because this week, we're talking about games that didn't review well, but by gum, we like them anyway. They're good. They're good games that people think are bad. Something like that. The title makes sense more than I am, probably. So we'll find out.
My
But yeah,
gum.
if you're new here, welcome to HGO Podcast. We're here every Monday at around 12 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. UK time on podcast services, and slightly later on youtube.com/hotgamers-only. No housekeeping at the moment. We're in a drought, but next week we have got video games. We have got Stellar Blade. We have got Ayuden Chronicle. We have got
Another Crab's Treasure.
Another Crab's Treasure. We have got Tales of Kenzao.
Also
We've got
Kenzaro.
Kenzara Zao. That's it. And then we've got. Is there
That's
another
it.
one? Okay,
I think that was the
No,
last
there was
one.
4.
there's 4. Perfect. Lots of games, lots of impressions. So be sure to tune in next week where we play a game of which one will fight for the algorithm. Let's figure that out next week, I guess. It'll be fun. So yeah, plenty of impressions next week. And hey, if you need to catch up on impressions, we have got the Spoiled Cast with Dill, which has been doing very well. Thank you ever so much for watching that. That's for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. We've got Persona 3 Reload review. We've got our Final Fantasy VII Rebirth review if you just want Hunter's direct impressions. We've got a lot of stuff that has come out. There will hopefully be more stuff coming in the near future. The website's been pretty dry because there's been no content, but we'll be getting to it eventually. Probably.
Don't worry,
We'll see.
in the coming drought of the summer, I may eventually just start reviewing games that I didn't get the chance to play in the beginning part of the year.
We'll just do stuff we missed. Why not?
Yeah.
So yeah, be sure to tune in for all of that. With that out of the way, Hunter, this was your topic, right? I think.
Yeah, it
Mhm.
was.
So I assume this stemmed from the fact that we've talked about this a lot on the podcast, I feel, at different points in time, where critics and audiences don't always seem to match when it comes to video game reviews.
Yeah.
There's
I
been
think
many of them just while we've been doing this podcast for the past 4 and a bit years, I
yeah,
can recall.
exactly. I
Um,
think the instance that caused me to write this one down for doing eventually was towards the end of last year, one of our things that I think you ended up saying after you played Gotham Knights was people should play more 7 out of 10 games
hell yeah, it's my
because there is
philosophy. Yeah.
there's
Mhm.
merit to doing that because it gives you a wider breadth of knowing what makes things work.
I'm a big advocate of people playing more mediocre games. And I mean, like, let's be real here, is a 7 out of 10 video game seems to mean a lot different. Like 7 out of 10 seems to mean different when it comes to video games than it does to anything else. I feel like if
Yeah,
people
anything
say,
else.
like, if you're watching a film and it's like, oh, it's like a 7 out of 10, it's like it's a popcorn movie, it's an action film or whatever, and it's like you can get some enjoyment out of it. It's only 2 hours. If someone was like, oh, it's just a fun blockbuster, you tend to watch it. But it seems to be like 7 out of 10 seems to be the plague of humanity. No one will play a 7 out of 10 video game. It's like if it's not a 9 or an 8 at the
Like
lowest, we discard it, we never talk about it again. And I feel like you
like
lose a lot because if you only
Rise of
play good games, you lose a lot from the
yeah.
medium. You get no
Rise of the
comparison.
Ronin's a recent example where it seemed like a bunch of people got talked out of playing it by reviews that were given it a 7, and I'm like, that's stupid. If you were interested in it, and that was like assuming that you weren't interested in something else that you were more interested in already, like you should still play it if you wanted to. That's stupid.
I feel like, especially if you're in a place like we are, right, where I don't like to call us critics because really we just provide opinions, and I don't really think that it's that deep. But when you're coming to
Yeah.
things where you are kind of assessing video games and you're talking about them a lot, you're talking about what you like, what you don't like, you have to play a wide range of stuff. You can't just play the 9 out of 10s, the 10 out of 10s, because you don't get a good gauge of what makes a good video game and what makes a good video game for you. There are so many 7 out of 10 video games that could be one of your favorite games of all time. There are
Yeah.
plenty of them, and you won't know that unless you play that, because you look at the Metacritic score, you see it yellow, you see a mediocre from IGN, you see a fair from OpenCritic, and you go, oh, maybe I won't bother. Because, yeah,
Alternatively, there have been like upper 80s to 90 games that I'm like, it was okay.
Yeah.
I can think of plenty.
See,
Deathloop will
high
be
CD
one.
with
Deathloop.
modern Final
Yeah.
Fantasy.
Yeah.
Or Deathloop for me and Hunter, where, we were going through that review process and, we saw the 90s come out and both me and Hunter were playing the game. And we had that conversation where we were like,
I was like,
I
I got
don't
it
think
drafted,
this
so
is-
I'm not going to complain, but also I don't agree.
I don't agree either. Like I say, does Gotham Knights deserve a 7 out of 10? 100%. But did I get something out of that experience? Yes. I don't regret it. Did it break my PS5? That's a story from another day. Yes, it did. But that was the
no.
game when my PS5 died. That's fun, isn't it? But I got something out of that
Forgot
game,
about
and there's
that.
plenty of them as well. So let's talk about it. We're going to bring up a bunch of games, new and old, that didn't score too highly in critics' eyes, but you should still play anyway because there's something to like about them. We'll start with you, Hunter. It's your topic after all. Where do you want to go with this? Where do you want to start? Big
So
heavy hitter, Hunter.
I'm going to start with one from last year because it seems semi-topical. Hades 2 is in the conversation a bunch right now because, the playtest just happened. If you don't want to do that and you've already played Hades and you haven't checked, AK-xolotl, I feel like got unfairly treated by reviews that weren't written by me when it came out. Because, like,
It does.
yeah, it's a fun game. It was really entertaining. I liked it. It's not as it's not as mechanically deep as something like Hades, but it was super charming. It was still entertaining. The runs didn't overstay their welcome. I don't think the difficulty curve was anything insane. You were still unlocking stuff, when you returned. It didn't really have every time you go back, there's like NPCs to talk to or everything, but like the Binding of Isaac was beloved for years and didn't do that either. So, and like since the launch, like there's even more stuff that they've been adding to this. Like if I were to turn it on now, there'd be like a million more things for me to do, or at least see potentially during a run.
But I'm
It-
wondering, I'm
Go
kind of
for it.
wondering if like the lower review scores might have just been from like roguelike fatigue. I'm wondering
I
if that
I
might
don't
have played a
necessarily
part
think
in it,
it's
or
that.
just like oversaturation of
I
the
feel like
genre.
there's an issue with, I think, indies at the moment. There's a real struggle in the indie scene. I don't know if you've noticed this, Hunter, where it seems to be that indie games seem to be landing, unless they are like critically adored, like beloved games like Hollow Knight, or last year, let's go for Pizza Tower, let's say, where it's like really hits the ground running. A lot
Yeah.
of games, if they're just, I feel like people are harsher when critiquing indie games than they are AAA games, in the sense of, if a game's just fine, the review score tends to lean lower, where it's like an average a AAA game, which I think where I'd see a 77, I'd be like, oh, it's a 77, so it's fine, it'll do. Whereas that is almost a 72 by default in indie land, where it's like, for some
Yeah.
reason,
Like
same level of quality difference in review scores.
like what's the Ghostwire Tokyo got a 77 a couple years ago. I think AK-xolotl is a much better game than Ghostwire Tokyo. I have things about AK-xolotl that I remember about it.
The,
I feel like it is one of those things where it's like, yes, I feel like, and I think part of it is true what you said, Kyle, is indie games, especially in recent years, have all been gearing towards certain genres. There's been a lot of roguelikes in the indie genre recently. There's been a lot of Metroidvanias in the.
There's a lot of roguelikes in the AAA space now too, and I wish they
yeah,
would quit it.
Yeah. So I think
that's
fatigue.
kind of what I meant by oversaturation.
Yeah, fatigue is
Where it
definitely a part
just
of
seemed
it.
like the kind of thing everyone was trying.
Mm-hmm.
Because then you also had, was it Returnal on
Yeah,
PS5?
yeah. Returnal was really good though.
Yeah.
And it got the love that it deserved.
Yeah, it reviewed really well. I feel like, yeah, review wise anyway. I feel like not enough people played it, but you know.
I do definitely think when it comes to the indie space, there are and I think for 2D games as well, especially, there's it's easier to critique and it's easier to bring that score down. And I don't know why it necessarily is, but it's like an indie that's a 70 can be a brilliant game that you just like, that you can really click with, where a 70 in the AAA space, they all tend to fall along the same thing, where it's like, if you like that kind of game, you'll like that kind of game. But also, it deserves to be there most of the time. If a AAA game ends up in the 70s, you're like, oh yeah, whatever have you. But no, Axolotl, I think people were too harsh on. I feel like it is one of those games where, yes, was it a bit barren content-wise at the start? It also doesn't help. Games are ever evolving now. You get that one chance to make an impression, and then, hey, if you're light on content, but then you spend the next 3 years building it up. Yes, some games like No Man's Sky get this continual cycle in the news and get to rebuild your effort back up, but smaller games don't get that. You get that first news push, and then you'll just have to have word of mouth where everyone's like, no, seriously, they've added a ton of shit, it's great, go play it.
Yeah.
Or you end up like Skullgirls and you get to live forever.
Yeah,
Because good lord, that game's been around for like 15 years at this point. It feels like.
hell yeah. Oh, like Stardew Valley, the amount the Eric Byrne could have literally have made a second Stardew with all the content that he's added in free updates since. He could have easily have made a sequel. He could have paid for all that. That's why I love the indie scene. Is, like I say, not only are indies
Shovel Knight's
fantastic,
the
but you'll
same
get so
way.
much stuff.
You
Go
know,
on.
they could have
Shovel Knight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they could have made a second Shovel Knight instead of all that extra stuff they gave you for simply owning the base game.
Dude, the fact that Shovel Knight gave you like 4 extra campaigns to play was ridiculous.
Out of control. We don't deserve people who do that.
We really don't.
Hell yeah. But no, go check out Axolotl if you haven't. Our review is also up on YouTube if you care for it, or on the website. Go check that out. I like covering indie games a lot because, like I say, they're just, again, I feel like if we had just looked at AK-xolotl on Open Critic or whatever and we saw the score, you'd just be like, oh, okay. But the fact that you have played it and you really liked it, it's like
Yeah,
spreading that word of mouth.
I like being someone who can lead somebody to something that they might really enjoy because I said it was cool.
Hell yeah. That's cool. Anyway, Kyle, over to you. What's your first pick?
Okay, don't laugh at me.
Ha.
My first pick is Shadow the Hedgehog on the PlayStation, GameCube, or the PS2, GameCube, and Xbox.
Oh God!
PlayStation
Right,
game.
right. I know that Keanu Reeves is the homie, guys, but
Kyle, you have to wait like 5 more
history?
months, and people will be like, you know what? Or I don't know when when Sonic 3 comes out. Wait like a year. Or whatever.
It's out in December, I think.
You have to wait like less than a year, and people will be like, oh, it wasn't that bad. Just imagine if he was Keanu.
I mean, he basically already is. But okay, so if you were around the internet like 10 years ago, like you're familiar with Shadow the Hedgehog. They took Shadow and they gave him a gun and made him ride motorcycles, and everyone took the piss out of it because they're like, this is stupid, he would never do this. And I'm like, okay, if there was a Sonic, there's 3 Sonic characters who would do this. It's Shadow, Knuckles, and Vector. Those are the 3 Sonic characters that would use a gun if given the opportunity. And honestly, I played this game. I played it all the way through. I got the 10 required endings to unlock the final story mission.
That game wanted you to play it 10 times.
They sure did. And for whatever
Sonic
reason,
Heroes wanted
I
you to play
did
it 4 times, so it's like they were just adding it up each time, every new game. Just keep doing them all.
Yeah. I mean, they're short playthroughs. They're like 7 stages each playthrough. So it's not long. But I played through the whole thing. I saw the full story unfold. And truly, I don't think it's that bad. Like, the way people talked about this game, you'd imagine it was like the most egregious thing on the planet. And like, yeah, some of the levels aren't that great. Yeah, Shadow's controls are kind of slippery. Yeah, the vehicles don't feel good to use because they have like no momentum to them at all. But
no vehicle in the PS2 era felt good to use.
that too. But on the whole, like, I think there are a lot more good levels in this game than bad levels. And as for like Shadow using guns, like, I mean, Sonic Adventure 1 introduced Gun, the military group. So, and literally the opening cutscene of Sonic Adventure 1 is Gun, the group, shooting Chaos with bullets, and it does nothing. So it's like, okay, it's not that far fetched for a Sonic character to pick up a gun.
I mean, as
if
someone
you
who
really think about it.
As someone who hadn't played any of the, literally the only Sonic game I played in my childhood was Sonic Heroes, right? So I don't have an opinion here, really. I think Sonic Heroes was funny, to be honest, as a kid.
Yeah.
So screw you. Sonic Heroes is fun, God damn it. Fuck
That's
you.
the other thing.
Haters.
Shadow the Hedgehog is hilarious in concept. I think now that we're like 20 years removed from when this game came out, we can all take a step back and be like, okay, this is just a funny video game. It's funny to watch or to listen to Shadow and other Sonic characters say damn and hell. That shit's hilarious, dude.
I just remember my cousin had it when I was younger, and I just remember seeing, it was like because I'd only played Sonic Heroes, so it was like, oh, I remember Shadow. Oh, he's got guns now, and it's a teen rated. I'm like, oh, okay, cool, whatever. Like, it made sense to me as a stupid kid, so I don't understand why everybody. I feel like, again, the internet ruins things for a lot of people because like just have fun, damn it. Like I feel like it's like you have to justify your actions. It's like if you like a game, like it, be fine with liking it. Why do we have to have this kind of you shouldn't like this game because of this? I'm like, no, fuck you. If I was an 8-year-old and I thought
pretty cool, let me go play one, but it's not New Vegas.
yeah, exactly. Like just let you have fun. If you enjoyed Shadow the Hedgehog, fucking more power to you, dude. Hell yeah, go for it.
The discussion of Shadow or Sonic characters using guns is bringing to mind this mental image of like Dr. Eggman pulling out like a really small like single shot thing. Just like Sonic makes it to him, and instead of a crazy like machine, he's just like, now die.
Dude, and also like this is an aside, but like the renders we got for Shadow the Hedgehog, the picture of him with the gun, just like standing back to the camera, gun down, pointed at the ground, like it's so fucking cool, dude. Like it's so 2000s, but man, it's so cool.
You know, it's interesting, right? Because I feel like the 2000s is such an interesting kind of decade because it feels to me like, and it's probably because I grew up in the 2000s, right? But it feels to me like it's like the last, you know, it's like when you look at the 80s, the 90s, the noughties, they all kind of have their own vibe to it. Whereas, like, I love the 2010s to me was so fucking generic that the
Dull.
2020s almost
Yeah.
kind of merge into it. There's not that much of a difference. It was like 2000s feels like the
The
last fucking
separating factor
generational
is the world
shift.
shutting down.
It feels like the last shift though, doesn't it? Where it's like, you know,
Yeah.
the musical style, the way things are animated, the way things are. You go back to like playing Persona 3 Reload again recently. It's like just the idea of having flip phones and all that stuff. Just like there's enough differences in technology and the way things were where it's like there is that nostalgia around it where it's like, oh, playing a 2000s game, yes, can it be cheesy and campy and can the music be over the top? Yeah, but is it just
Yeah.
kind of cool and fun to go and reminisce with that? Hell yeah, dude, it's great. I love it.
And also, even just like looking at the other games that kind of like released around Shadow the Hedgehog at the time, this was also where other games were starting to take on like like the kiddie games were trying to take on like a more mature
Yeah.
vibe because you had stuff like Twilight Princess out the year after, or like the Legend of Spyro games were also coming out around that time.
I mentioned him earlier, Jack and Daxter.
Jack and Daxter, yep.
Went from quirky fun platformer to boring GTA clone real quick. Like it's just like stuff happens, right? Where you just gotta. It was a very interesting time. It's like, but you know, it's goofy. It's fun.
Yeah,
they have their.
it's
they
a
have-
fun little time capsule.
Hell yeah, dude. And like I say, I don't feel like 2000s again. Also, when it comes to kids games, it was like they were still prevalent and there were still so many kind of games catered to that audience. Whereas now it really just is like your Mario's,
Mario.
basically Nintendo just carries the fucking torch really.
Yeah,
And it's like you have your Sonic games every year or so, but it's like
We'll get a Crash game. If you
a Crash game every half a decade, maybe a Spyro thing. Like it's like you don't get that kind of foray of platformers and that foray of just like so much variety in the genre anymore. So yeah, in 2000 and whatever, Shadow the Hedgehog, 2005, yeah. You had so much variety that yeah, quirky, stupid, little edgy Hedgehog games, spin-off game in 2005 doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. Yeah, have fun with it, go goofy with it. If people like it, they like it, you know? There was so much out there. You can't really complain. It's not like it took you one of your key pillars of your life for a little bit away from you guys. I feel like Sonic fans take it a little too seriously. Plus, let's be real, guys. You've had worse. You've had plenty worse.
Yeah.
before and after, yeah.
If it came out in 2005, then immediately
You literally had worse game 1 year later, yeah.
Sonic 06, yep.
Oof.
And I mean,
Where you can still make Shadow drive a vehicle in that game, so what was the fucking point?
you know,
What were we getting angry about?
what were we getting angry about? But no. I miss it, dude. I wish, again, Sonic Team, bring them back, dude. Make Sonic Heroes and Shadow the Hedgehog, dude. You know you want to. You know you want to. Oh, I'd love it. I'd love a remake of Sonic Heroes would be like my dream, dude. Like, imagine making that game good, like just fixing it, just making it a great game, and still keeping the cheese. I'd love it. Oh, dream game, dude. Dream game.
That would be cool. I
Sonic
played a
Team
little
in the
bit of Heroes.
2000s.
It was alright. It wasn't that bad.
No, I liked it. As a stupid kid, I thought it was fantastic, and I played the PS2 version too, so I definitely had no opinion.
Oh god.
Yeah.
The loading screens.
Speaking of platformer fans being little divas, right? I feel like I've preached this since episode 1. We're bringing it back. Why not? Sly 4 does not deserve the fucking hate, guys. I hate to break it to you. Sly 4 is pretty good, okay? I hate this slander. I will keep banging my drum because we're never getting a Sly 5, so you might as well accept that it's alright, because come on in, guys. I replayed it like just last year as well. It's good. Like, I don't understand the hate. It's another Sly game. Is it as polished as the Sucker Punch games? No. Did it stop me from having fun? No. I still think it's pretty great. It's cheesy. It's fantastic. It feels like a 2005 game that was made in 2013. I don't understand the hate. I really don't. It was a good time. I think it's mainly story changes that some people didn't like, some story changes. But like, it was everything that, however, how old was I in 2013? Quickly, somebody do the math. I must have been 15?
15-ish. Yeah.
14.
Yeah, 14.
14, 15. It was everything that a 14, 15-year-old me wanted from a Sly game that he'd been waiting 8 years for, dude. Traveling in time, seeing ancestors from Sly's past. You know, all the voice actors returning bar calmly to having a new voice like is tradition. It's a lot of fun, you know? You get Yuri Lowenthal voicing one of the ancestors, need I say more? Nolan North plays like 5 characters in that game. He plays Yuri plays Sir Galif, I believe.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. The cast of Sly 4, if I remember correctly, is pretty great. Like I say, Nolan North plays like 2 characters at least, maybe 3.
Steve Bloom is in this game?
Yeah, dude. Sam Riegel played Tennessee Kid.
Oh
Yuri
my
Lowenthal,
God.
Sir Galif. Nolan North played Fred Tatasciore, dude. Like, this game has such a good voice cast. Steve Bloom played Ryuichi Cooper, dude.
Patrick Seitz.
Yeah,
Damn.
yeah. It's got such a great cast. I love it. It's like, is it perfect? No. Are there plenty of problems? Did it run like ass in certain places? Yes. It's a PS3 game, ladies and gentlemen. They all did. They're all bad. But I had so much fun, and going back to it, it's good fun. Like, I don't understand the hate. I feel like people just overly hate on things for no damn reason. Like, it's just fun.
Especially if it's a new developer for a series. Like, that's always a lightning rod for people to be like, bad. Arkham Origins, you've been
killed it.
We will get to that later, Hunter. We will talk about that one later. But, yeah. I feel like whenever the torch is passed, a lot of the time people aren't fine with it. Which I'm like...
No. And I feel like a lot of times it isn't reasonable.
No, I agree. Is it going to always feel the exact same? No. Do I feel like there are definitely games that it's justified to not like it and be critical, but I feel like Sly 4 isn't one of those. I think it's fine, and I think that you guys just need to learn to chill out a bit. It's not the end of the world. Is it the worst?
But it was the end of Sly.
Yeah, and that's not the game's fault, actually. That's just the fucking franchise. Let's be real here. And also, Sanzaru's been bought by
the
Meta.
industry.
Yeah, so it's like the only studio that did want to do something Sly related will never do it again. So we're fine. It's all good. Maybe they'll make a TV show or try again, and maybe then they'll do something with him. Who knows?
We'll get that movie someday.
Yeah, no. Probably for the best. But no.
Yeah.
Play it if you haven't. It's stuck on the PS3, hell. Sony's never making an emulator, so good luck. But, you know. Hunter, back to you. Where are we going next?
Alright, so next up. This one's tickling because River City Girls 1 and 2 both got, like, 78s or something. On, like, the Metacritic, OpenCritic aggregators. And that really confuses me because the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game that everyone flipped their lid over a couple years ago has like an 86 and isn't as good.
I'll have you know, Hunter, I played one level of that and I thought
I played all of it.
It was alright.
And it was okay. I feel like people being like, "Oh, the Ninja Turtles," did a lot of the legwork though.
Yeah,
Dude, I hate what
they're
I like.
iconic.
They
Yeah,
are
and River
iconic,
City
but I
Girls is
hate.
way more interesting.
But I
You're
hate it. It's
not
like that.
incorrect.
Indie World came out last week, and the amount of times that everyone was like, "Oh, pretty mid Indie World, to be honest," but at least there was that cool TMNT game, and I'm like, bro, that was the TMNT game was
That
the
was the
low
least
point
interesting
for
thing
me. It was the
there.
most least interesting thing. I'm like, water's wet, sky is blue. There'll be a TMNT game every 1 to 2 years to try and bait you in on nostalgia. It happens every time. Like, come on. Ugh.
But yeah, like both of them are pretty good. Like I liked them both quite a bit. I'm sure they're great fun with another person, even. But playing them myself, I still had a good time. The world is super fun and interesting. Like I remember describing the beginning of 2 broke both of you when I talked about how the Yakuza leader just punched his way out of jail because he just broke the wall that was holding him.
That's
I
exactly.
remember that.
It was very funny, but now having played Yakuza, very realistic, very
Yeah.
true to form now.
Yeah, and, like it's the same kind of fun silliness that permeates the world. Like, and the gameplay is great too. Like, pretty in-depth stuff for a beat 'em up. As far as like a lot of beat 'em ups, you get the light combo, heavy combo, and that's it. This one, you got like different special moves. You can launch people into the air and actually do other moves once you get there. It's all good stuff. I think the River City as a setting is really cool, and the soundtrack is great.
Hell yeah. Short and sweet.
I just think that both of those deserved better.
No?
I mean,
I
they're
agree.
games I've been meaning to check out at some point. I just keep forgetting about them.
It's like after playing both of them, it was like I became more interested in playing other games like it. Like
Hmm.
after like I'm like, oh, I'll give the Scott Pilgrim game a whirl sometime, or like I played the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game when it became available on the PlayStation subscription because of playing those, and was like, oh, reviews got this one backwards.
No? Fair enough. Kyle, what's next for you? No pressure.
So my next one might come as a surprise to a lot of people.
No, here we go.
Well, especially given how the game is looked at nowadays. It's Pokemon Mystery Dungeon: Explorers of Sky.
No, when you said before we started that there was a Pokemon game on your list, and as soon as you said that, I'm like, it's Explorers of Sky. I know.
Oh my god.
We've done this road, not off like just everyone that I've known, like 5 people have been like, oh, I love Explorers of Sky, and every single time I'm like, the one fun fact is, God, the Metacritic score on that game was bad for what it actually is.
Dude,
If I
the
remember
everything
correctly.
score on this one got it
Yeah.
so wrong. Like, okay, for those who are familiar with Mystery Dungeon nowadays, y'all know like Explorers of Sky is one of the most beloved games in the Pokemon franchise. Everyone who's played it has basically agreed it's the best game in not just like the best Pokemon spin-off, but a lot of them would probably rate it as like best Pokemon game, full stop. But on release, this game was
Ain't no way
dogged.
people are putting that over gold or silver or whatever.
They might. I would.
I'm not saying it's a reasonable or unreasonable opinion. I'm just saying I know what Pokemon fans are like.
Yeah.
All I'm saying here, Hunter, is it's a beloved game. It is considered by many to be the best Pokemon spin-off game of all time, and it sits at a 54 on Metacritic.
Yeah.
That is perplexing.
Dude, if you want to put it in perspective of how bad this game did in terms of the review of Zeitgeist,
It's allegedly worse than Scarlet and Violet.
Nintendo Life, you know, the group that reviews Nintendo games and has a sharp bias towards Nintendo,
No
even
bias, no
they
bias. Don't start hate with Nintendo Life. We can't
even
handle the
they
hate.
gave it a 7 out of 10.
Oh shit! It's at 7 on Nintendo Lives. Don't bother, dude. Like that's literally like
Yeah.
damn, that's crazy.
For them, that's a death sentence.
Princess Peach probably got an 8 at least.
Probably.
I'll fact check that. You carry on, Kyle.
But like it's just crazy to me. As someone who didn't play Sky on release, I played it years removed from when it actually came out.
It did get an
It's
8 out of 10 on Nintendo Live. Are you all right? Congratulations.
Yahtzee.
oh, it's baffling to me at how poorly this game did in terms of reception, considering how beloved it is now. And it did so much too, because like I mean, it's a third version because you also had like Explorers of Time and Darkness. I don't know how those two did. It's, it's basically just agreed upon. If you're gonna play any of the DS Mystery Dungeon games, play Sky. It's the complete version. You had all these cool little like bonus episodes you could unlock. The whole all of the people in Wigglytuff's guild were all super memorable. It all felt like they played a role in the story. And the other thing I love about Mystery Dungeon games is how it can like reframe my appreciation for certain Pokemon. Because like Wigglytuff in the main series is a Pokemon I give zero shits about. I could not care less about this pink blob. It's bad and you should never use it. But in Mystery Dungeon in Sky, Wigglytuff is literally the strongest thing on the planet. It's like it's insane. And like and especially like the two kind of antagonists for the game, quote like the two other like main characters, Grovyle and Dusk Noir. I love because of this game, I love Grovyle more than I like Sceptile. Grovyle,
It's a better design.
it really is, dude. Grovyle's sick as fuck.
Grovyle looks really cool. It's got it doesn't have a bush for a tail.
He's got the cool little hair thing.
Instead of the stupid little lemon strapped to the back
Yeah.
of his head. Yeah, Sceptile doesn't look nearly as good.
Mm. And Dusk Noir, again, like that's a Pokemon that it sucks. Thanks to Gen 5 making it Dusclops just better than it. There's no reason to use Dusk Noir. But like I'm really glad it got a chance to shine in this game.
But yeah,
And
Darkness and Time both got a 60.
yeah.
Sky got a 54 for basically just being, it's the same game again. There you go.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
It didn't stop Assassin's Creed from getting at least.
That doesn't stop the Pokemon games either.
Yeah.
The main line.
I mean, here's the thing, right? Is Explorers as a franchise, in terms of gameplay loop, it either hits or it doesn't.
Yeah.
And for
With
me,
the
it just never
procedurally
has.
generated dungeons.
It's procedurally generated. I think the gameplay's boring to me personally. But that's the entire franchise. So why this is the low point for some reason when it's clearly the best game in this series is beyond me, to be honest. It's a big blunder, really.
Yeah. And unfortunately, with the shutdown of the Wii U's Virtual Console, there's no good, easy way to obtain it nowadays.
No easy way, gamers. No easy way.
Thanks, guys. No easy way.
No easy way.
Wink.
Can't recommend anything. Guess you'll have to go and buy it so you can obtain a legal copy, guys. That's what you're gonna have to do.
Not even like a PC version we could recommend. Wink, wink.
I couldn't do, especially me, because I'm in the UK where laws are even worse. Definitely can't say anything. But yeah, very bizarre decision. But
it's just one. It's like it's a very low scoring game that just baffles me nowadays.
Yeah. I mean,
anyways, what you got for us, Eth?
There's so many options and so little time. Let's go with, we're going on you were going on a old one. I have a lot of love for this game. Let's talk about Broken Age. First act of Broken Age was received rather well. Second act of Broken Age wasn't received very well at all. Because here's the thing with it, when it came episodic game, 2 parts. So there's the complete score, there's the overall score, and there's the Act 2 score. And the Act 2 score in particular didn't do too hot. And it's because of a little thing called public perception, guys. So let's go on a story of how public perception kind of broke Broken Age and why you should actually play Broken Age if you like the idea of point and clicks. Because in my opinion, this is definitely a controversial opinion. I think it's one of Tim Schafer's best. I really do. I think it's my second favorite of the four, out of Full Throttle, Grim Fandango, Day of the Tentacle, and Broken Age. It's my second favorite. The best is obviously Grim Fandango, because I'm not gonna even argue with anybody about that. It is fantastic. In my opinion, Grim Fandango is the best point and click adventure game of all time. It's brilliant. If you haven't played it, please play it, especially the remaster. It is one of the best written video games of all time, and it came out in 1998. Please go and play that video game. It's brilliant.
Hunter, what are you cackling about?
So this is a completely unserious remark that popped into my head when he said that Grim Fandango is the best point and click game of all time. I was like, even over 12 minutes.
You know, Hunter, I think it's really close. It's neck and neck, but I think I'm gonna have to give it.
I know, Grim Fandango's got skeletons. You can't beat that.
Yeah, and also definitely does not have siblings fucking each other. So I think there is definitely one that is better, Hunter.
I hate
But
that.
that's
I
just
hate
me.
that I hate that you both know about that, because that would have absolutely been a game that I would have made you play for winning the Fantasy Critic.
You
I
couldn't
did not
pay
know about
me.
that.
I've told you about it.
I forgot about it.
It's probably for the best, dude. It's probably for the best. I can promise you 12 minutes is not on this list. I can promise you that.
No,
much.
it's not.
That was a
But-
deserved 7 out of 10.
Genuinely. But yeah. I love Broken Age. It's fantastic. But for those of you who are unaware, it was a Kickstarter game. It was one of the biggest Kickstarter games. It's one of the first Kickstarter games to properly start that trend off in 2014. Act 2 came out in 20. No, what was it? Act 2 was 20. Act 1,
I have Wikipedia.
Act 1
open.
2014, Act 2
Act 1 was
2015.
January 2014.
But it was kickstarted in 2012. That's the timeline. Let's get the timeline correct. There we go. So it was kickstarted in 2012, and they were doing a documentary about it called Double Fine Adventure, where it was releasing during the development. And basically, they were doing this honest look at a video game. All of this was going through. It got split into 2 chunks because they couldn't afford it because they put too much money into the first part. And this little tiny thing called Gamergate happened right in the middle of this game's development. So it was a perfect storm where, it was a perfect storm where Tim Schafer became the enemy of a certain group of people on the internet. The game had to be split in 2 so that Double Fine could survive, and the second part took way too long to come out. It took like a year and a half for the second part to come out. But looking at it, there's this lovely part of the documentary, which I think I've recommended the Double Fine documentaries, both of them, Adventure and Psych Odyssey, to literally everybody that I have ever spoken to. If you've ever wanted to have a look at what it actually looks like to make a video game in the industry, go check out both of those documentaries. I think they're both fantastic, especially Psych Odyssey. Go and watch Psych Odyssey. I've watched it again recently, and God, it's brilliant. But like Tim Schafer says this wonderful thing at the end where he's like, I really hope that in 10 years time people just forget that it was split in 2 and they just see it as one put together piece. And it's now been 10 years basically since the original part came out, and looking back at it, I just think it's brilliant. There's this, you can't tell it was split in 2 with the way that the story was. There was this perfect separation point where there's this perfect halfway point, there's this twist in it which I think is brilliant, and it's just a great coming of age story. The voice acting is fantastic. Jack Black, Elijah Wood, there's some really great talent in it, and it's just a really fun point and click adventure game, which I think the second act got way too much hate. I think the second act is fantastic. I like the second act more than the first act, really. Some really fun puzzles, some really stupid puzzles as well, but you know, that's what adventure games are all about. It's fun. I like them. It's good. It's good fun. And it made me a big fan of Double Fine. So yeah, and it's just go play Broken Age. It's fantastic. If you haven't played it, go play it and watch the documentary, and then go and play Psychonauts 1 and 2, and then watch the documentary for that as well while you're at it. You might as well. They're both fantastic. It's only
If you're on a binge, you might as
you
well.
might, the Psychonauts documentary is only 32 episodes, guys. It is only like 50 hours of documentary. It's only that much. There's so much
How
drama
long
though.
are the episodes?
Anywhere between 30 minutes to over an hour.
Oh, nice.
It's 6 years of documentary. Like, it's literally 6 years of development. And it was not a good development cycle. The Psychonauts 2. It's great, but I talked too much about that. And unfortunately, Psychonauts 2 was a fantastic game critically and commercially, so not on the list. But go play Broken Age. It's fantastic. Hunter, you're up.
Dude, Resident Evil fans complain way too much about the remake of 3.
Really?
I feel like this
Here we
game.
go.
I feel like this game is good.
So do I.
Yeah.
It was a solid
Thank you.
video game.
Thank you, Kyle.
It was like 5 hours, but like
Yeah.
it's about all the time I really wanted to put into it.
Like, people get upset because it had stuff cut. And that's mostly why, because the clock tower wasn't in it, and fair enough, the clock tower was a cool area. But like, I feel like it's a perfectly serviceable experience. I think it's, you know, I don't like it as much as 2. I didn't like the original
same.
version of 3 as much as 2 either.
And to be fair, as someone who hadn't played the original 3, I couldn't even tell stuff was cut out.
Yeah,
It's like playing Resi
that's what I'm
4
saying.
remake, like playing the Resi 4 remake last year. Like there was stuff cut out of that, and I'm like, was there?
Yeah.
Didn't even notice. Couldn't tell.
It was like, it's not a complete one-to-one. It's not like a complete copy paste of the stuff you were doing in 2 either. Like, it
Yeah,
does have that cool dodge roll and whatnot. I feel like I really liked playing it when I did. You know,
yeah.
I almost contemplated replaying it again the weekend I got it. You know, like, it's short, but it's also, I feel like it'd be easy to pick up again pretty easily.
Yeah.
Simply.
You know, yeah, speaking of documentaries and stuff like that, I really think that never would happen in a million years because of NDAs. I feel like it would do the world a lot of good if every single video game had a documentary of going showing what goes into everything. Because the amount of times I hear with Resident Evil 3 and stuff like that, especially when it's short games, lazy devs don't know what's happening, you know, cash grab, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, I just feel like if you can see the faces behind the video game,
Show the
understand
people
what
that they're
happens, and
talking
where
stupid.
it
Like,
would do
it's
the
not
world
a
so
bad
much
game.
good.
First of all, second of all, they didn't set out to make a bad game. Quit being
No
stupid.
one sets out to make
Yeah.
a bad game. Spoiler alert for everybody.
Yeah,
No one. It baffles me, to be honest. I hate terms like lazy devs or like cash grab and stuff like that. 'Cause it's like it's
I've never said that about the games I dislike the most. I would never
Yeah.
accuse them of being lazy. That's stupid.
But no, it's like, yeah, is it short? Yes. Was there a lot of stuff cut? Yeah. But it's like, did you still have fun? Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Maybe yeah,
was
maybe
tight.
was it not worth the price of entry? Maybe. But also, again, look at the game in 10 years' time when you're not gonna have to worry about that because it'll be £2 on Steam like every Resident Evil game.
Yeah.
Is it just a worthwhile experience to just
Like,
go and play
especially
it? Hell yeah.
especially these days, if you're like putting it off because people tell you it's bad because they're silly. Don't listen to them. It's probably like $10 and play it if you're interested in it.
That's literally
Yeah.
every game, dude. Because say that was
It's
Broken
literally
Age, it'll be
on
like
sale,
$5.
like, every other week.
Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
Shadow the Hedgehog is literally probably like $3 on eBay. Like, go and
Mhm.
play these games. There's no monetary, like, there's no value proposition here. Just go and play them. They're fantastic.
Like, it was a really fun night of. It was a fun little roller coaster ride. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
You know, it's not.
It's a good way to put it.
I know we talk a lot about appreciating short games a lot, but it's like there is something nice just about finishing a game in 1 or 2 nights. It's just there's something good about it, especially in the year 2024 where every game has to be 6 million hour RPG. It's nice after having played Rebirth and Reload, then being like, oh yeah, a bunch of short games. That's nice. It feels like I'm making progress towards something here. That's great. We need more
Crushing
short
that
games.
backlog.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
But no, there's again. We said it about Shadow the Hedgehog, Hunter. There's been plenty worse Resident Evil games than the Resident Evil 3 remake, guys. I think that
Yep.
Yeah.
it's time you all accepted that. But oh well, where's the Resident Evil 5 remake, Capcom? Come on, I need to punch a
Where is
boulder in
it?
4K. I need to punch the boulder. Kyle.
What a glorious day that'll be.
Oh, trust me, I'll be fucking. It'll be like a Kingdom Hearts trailer moment, dude. I will be waiting for for Chris to punch a boulder, and then I will fucking scream, dude. I will shriek from the heavens, and my pre-order will be placed. Be fantastic.
Man.
Right, where are we going?
Right. Next up, a game I've talked about a fair bit on this show. It's Trials of Mana on the PS4 and Switch. This is kind of just like,
I didn't realize that got middling reviews. I just thought no one played it.
I mean, it's a thing can be both, Hunter.
Well, yeah, I know.
The two are not mutually exclusive.
I just thought the people that played it liked it was what I was getting at.
I mean, I enjoyed my time with it, but I mean, so this game came out I think it came out like the week after Final Fantasy VII Remake came out. And sometimes
it got Horizon.
Yeah.
Also,
it kind of feels like
he did his research. He got a 75. He's okay. He's fine. He's vibing.
Well, no, I wasn't discounting that he was bringing an 85.
I assumed that you were just making an assumption that Cal did not check any of the scores and just like, yeah, I want to talk about Trials of Mana.
That's not what I was saying. I was just like, didn't know that.
Bro, I checked the score for Explorers of Sky. You think I'd stop there? Usually I just come here and make shit up.
Dude, it's like
I do not do that anymore.
That's what you think. I don't believe you. Anyway, carry
on. But no. I feel so yeah, when this game came out, it was like a week after Final Fantasy VII Remake. So I feel like it kind of just got sent out to die and no one paid attention to it, which is a shame because this game is really fun. It's very simple. It definitely harkens back to like the simpler times of JRPGs, like the SNES era, where you kind of just like pick your team of 3, and that's your team for the game. You just roll with it. It's very simple. As you progress, your classes, like your characters' classes evolve, level up. By the end of the game, one of my characters was summoning dragons. It was pretty fucking rad. It was
dragons.
It was a pretty rad video game. I definitely enjoyed my time with it, and I would definitely recommend it. It is like, it's a fairly easy game to pick up and play. Combat is live action. Whenever enemies do attacks, you'll get like these red like warning areas of where you need to avoid. So
it's like the old Tales of games.
Yeah, similar. And I think it's the kind of thing anyone could pick up and play. You don't really need any knowledge of the Mana series. This was the first Mana game I played. And yeah, I mean, it's another game. It's available on PS4 and Switch, and it's probably another game that goes on sale like every other week. So, and there's a demo available.
Those ones that's been like permanently discounted, like how Tales of Berseria is like at max $20.
I actually think this might be in the PlayStation catalog.
No,
I could be mistaken, and if I am, I'll put a comment in the comments, be like, I was wrong, sorry guys. But I feel like it's available on the PS Plus collection.
It might be disappearing like every single Final Fantasy is this month, where it's just like wave goodbye to all of them.
Possible, yeah.
Who knows?
But no, the game's fun. I actually almost have the plat trophy for this game. If I can be bothered to do 2 more playthroughs.
Oh, fuck that off, dude. That sounds miserable.
But besides that,
just besides that one little tiny factor.
Besides that one little 40-hour time sink.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Nah, game's good.
Fair enough. Hunter mentioned my next one earlier, but it's time, dude, to say Batman Arkham Origins deserves to be remembered, dude. This erasure of the video game, it does not seem fair. Arkham Origins is
Honestly,
the
though.
definition of a game that was passed to a different developer. They made the same fucking video game and they went, oh, fuck
Yeah.
off. Like, that was it. Like, what? Like, honestly, I think Arkham Origins is pretty great. I loved it. I thought, is it the weakest
it a
of the
lot.
games? Yes. Does it deserve to be on something that isn't the PS3? Yes, definitely. Every other game under the sun gets a remaster. They remastered Arkham Asylum and City and then didn't bother with Origins. And it's like, I don't get it. Like, is it the weakest? Yes, but is there some good stuff there? And does it play well? Yeah, it does.
It's still stronger than the output of the last two high-profile DC games that we got.
Arkham Origins is better than Gotham Knights. It really is. Very much better. They should have made just another one and carried on. The performances are great, dude. Roger, is it Roger Craig?
Smith.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Roger Craig Smith as Batman and Troy Baker as the Joker in that game. Fantastic performances. I love them. There's some really cool boss fights in that game. Like, Arkham has never been great with boss fights, and it's ironic that some of the best boss fights are in Arkham Origins. Like, there's some good boss fights in that game.
Miles better than everything in Night.
Yeah, definitely. The city being like this weird hybrid of Arkham City's map, but also added areas, and it obviously not being an abandoned city and actually being actual Gotham was really interesting. There was some cool stuff to it.
Cool.
There was some cool lore moments to it as well, you know, with a load of the side characters. Firefly, I remember the Firefly stuff. That was pretty cool.
Firefly stuff was neat.
There's a load of good stuff, and I just don't understand why Warner Brothers tries to erase it from existence when it's not the worst thing Warner Brothers has ever made, not even close. There's just no need. Like, come on.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. Like, as far as like pure final confrontations, even though it was just, you know, the quick time event of punching Joker a bunch
in the church.
I liked it more. Yeah, to the sweet remix of Carol of the Bells. I thought that was a cooler like closing couple of minutes of gameplay than either of the other two final bosses before that.
Also, it's one of those very few Christmas games where it's set on Christmas Eve, and it's just like, you know, it's just fun. It's just like, it's fun to play as Batman in the snow at Christmas. It's kind of fun to do that. And you know, it's just it was crazy that we got like Arkham Asylum, City, Origins, and Night all in the span of like 6 years. And yeah, were we getting a lot of them? Yes. Was there that fatigue? Kind of. But the fact that then in the following 6 years since, and even let's just fucking roll the carpet out, right, and go, in the past 9 years since, we've not had a single game from Warner Brothers that's of the quality of any of them is crazy. Like, my God. No wonder people like Insomniac is the goats at the moment when it comes to superhero stuff. It's because just Warner Brothers gave up. They
don't have competition.
They didn't show up. They made Gotham Knights and Suicide Squad, two of the most fucking mid games of all time. Is there stuff to like about Gotham Knights? Yeah. Was it better than Arkham Origins? No. Deserves more love. Anyway. Hunter.
Oh. All right, so this is one that I would have said anyway, but now I'm especially confused. The first Coffee Talk game, the disparity between this one and the other one's like reviews confuses me. I remember that being the thing last year. I'm like, you know, I'm shocked when 2 got like 83 or whatever. I was like, I'm shocked that this one got this, not because I thought it wouldn't be good, because I like them both quite a bit. It was just I thought that people didn't like it. And like
I'm looking up the score right now to see what it got.
I think
76?
the first one was 70. Yeah, 76, and the other one got like an 83 or 82. And like I do think that 2 is written a little bit better. I think its themes hit a bit stronger, but not like 8 to 9 points of difference, you know?
I did not. As someone who's replayed them, I kind of appreciate Coffee Talk 1 more in a way because it's shorter and it's more concise. I feel like Coffee Talk 2, I liked Coffee Talk 2 a lot, but Coffee Talk 2 is a lot longer than Coffee Talk 1. So it's like Coffee Talk 1, you can finish in a night. It's one of those day games. It's a Resident Evil 3, guys. You can literally play the entirety of it in like 2 or 3 hours. Whereas Coffee Talk 2 is not that much longer. It's like 5 or 6, but then that becomes a multi-night affair. And there was a part of me that was like, ooh, I missed that one playthrough, like does that one run through 3 hours. So there's in some ways I do like Coffee Talk 1 more than 2. They're both fantastic.
Yeah, it's just
though.
like 2 there were clear upgrades, I think, and the characters that returned, I feel like they had a better idea of what they wanted to do, and I feel like they had a better idea of just in general what they wanted to say and get across. But I still think that the first game was really good groundwork for everybody and still had, you know, its own neat stories that they conveyed. And that's why I was so perplexed. Or otherwise, I would have put the other game and I would have put 2 in my fantasy critic if I would have been like, oh yeah, this is I just thought people were like,
oh shit, the physicals
visual.
of they finally reached the physical in Europe. How come I find this out now? Googling Coffee Talk. What the fuck?
Oh, sick! Good for you.
Oh shit! I need to buy that now
buy.
at some point. Yeah, but I don't have the money right now. Fuck.
Sell.
What? I don't have anything. Look, don't look behind me.
You're not using that Xbox.
You're not using that copy of Mario RPG.
No, I will eventually. I've already opened it.
Oh.
But yeah.
Shit.
But no. Yeah, Coffee Talk's fantastic. Big fan.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. Both of them, real good.
And they're pretty cheap if you want to, you know, keeping on that premise.
Always pretty cheap. Very chill experiences if you don't feel like doing a lot. Like I replayed them last year when I was hit with the Victorian wasting sickness on my holiday break because I couldn't be bothered to do something like jump in Mario. So I was like, all right, let's pour some drinks.
And where are these available? Are they on Switch?
Yeah, they're
everywhere.
On Switch.
Everywhere?
Yeah.
Basically everywhere. Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, and PC. They're everywhere.
Even Xbox got it. Y'all have no excuse.
I would highly recommend the Switch, just because they're perfect. Switch
that seems
games.
like a
Literally
good
stick 'em
Switch
in your
game.
bag. Yeah, stick them in your bag. You can play it whenever. As someone who played them, the only platform I haven't played it on is Switch. I'd recommend it on there. But it runs great everywhere, obviously. God, it's out. It's going low availability. Fuck, I might actually have to buy this. I'm gonna have to move money around. God damn it. Anyway, who's next? I'm too busy thinking about having to buy video games. I don't want to do that.
It's
Kyle,
me.
is it you? Okay, it's you.
Yeah, it's me.
What have you got for us?
I've got a couple more left. This one. So I'm a big Mario Party fan, and you know, I know not all Mario Parties are created equal, and whatever one is your favorite is probably the one you grew up with. And for me, it's Mario Party 8. This was a fairly...
That have the host with the funny hat?
Yes.
That was the first one I played.
MC Ballyhoo and his talking hat Big Top.
Skew
Oh, Ballyhoo is one of the greatest hosts in Mario Party. And like, it's not even close, dude. He's so much fun, even if it's just for the noises he makes. But so this was the first one I played was 7, but I honestly do think that 8 is just a clear improvement on 7. It was the first Wii Mario Party game, and honestly, I'll be real with y'all. I think this game looks better than Mario Party 9 does. Just like in terms of graphics and presentation, I think it just looks so much better. And a lot of the boards were taken from ideas from Mario Party 7's boards and kind of revamped to be better. So like Koopa's Tycoon Town, for example, this is a board where you're going around buying hotels, and each hotel starts off as a 1-star hotel. As you put in more coins, they increase to a 2-star and to a 3-star.
It's the most
So and
monopoly the series has ever been.
yeah, and like I really like that as a concept where it's like there's a strategy to like, okay, how do I want to build up these hotels to make sure that no one can steal them from me? How much do I want to put in to make it so like the people behind me
It's like the cake
can't
board. If
snag
the
it
cake
from me?
board didn't suck.
What was that?
It's like the cake board and the
Yeah.
early ones if it didn't suck.
Yeah, and also it has a board that like with a concept that I never saw replicated. King Boo's Haunted Hideaway. This is like
Oh, I
a
remember that one.
roguelike Mario Party board where you go into King Boo's mansion and you have to find King Boo to purchase a star from him. And then once the star is purchased, everyone gets kicked back out to the start and the whole house shuffles. So every time you go into the house, it's a different layout, and I just think that that's such a cool concept that I'm so sad Mario Party never tried again. You also
Yeah.
got the train. The train was a cool board.
Oh, dude, like presentation wise, I think all those boards are really cool because the other
Oh
two,
yeah.
the Bowser one and then the one on the waterfront, and they both look sick.
Oh yeah, dude. Goomba's Booty Boardwalk looks so freaking pretty.
Is that what it's called?
Yes. Ethan, they're pirates.
Yeah.
Sorry,
That-
that got lost in context. They're pirates. They're pirate Goombas.
Don't care. Booty Boardwalk is a great name. They knew what they were doing. They knew what they were doing, and I respect it.
No, this game's fun, and like, for a while, this was always like my go-to game when I was hanging out with friends, and like we'd always have a great time playing this.
Yeah.
It's and I feel like the motion controls, say what you will about
They're
early Wii.
inoffensive.
Yeah, say what you will about early Wii motion controls, but I feel like the randomness to motion controls can kind of help level the playing field a little bit, where even people who hadn't played it can still like get a leg up on like a veteran, for example.
There were only ever 2 mini games that I ever had a shot at winning. And I'm never really good. I'm still not good at Mario Party mini games. So it was the more you shake the soda can.
Yep.
That one's easy. And then the other one where you like pouring like sugar or something into a,
Oh yeah, that was a fun one.
I'm like, oh yeah, this is easy enough. The rest of them, no go. I would never win anything, and somehow still winning the actual like game.
And again, like presentation wise, so the whole setting for Mario Party 8 is like this big carnival. And I think it does an incredible job of like implementing all of it. And even like all the mini games too. Like they all have their own special intro and outro that plays to make them really just feel like they're events. Game's good. Game got shat on unjustly. That like I'll say this, there are like a small amount of mini games. Like I think there's like 9 1 versus 3 games, which is abysmally small. But I think the selection of mini games is still really good. I don't remember how many they were able to bring into the Switch Mario Party Superstars because of motion controls, but no, I think Mario Party 8 holds up very well.
Oh yeah. Speaking of Nintendo,
Oh boy.
I feel like there's one game from Switch launch year which I think people were too harsh on. Well, critics were too harsh on, dude.
1-2
And that's
Switch.
no,
Snake
fuck
Pass.
that. No,
3-4 Switch.
no, it's
Arms.
Arms, dude. It's Arms.
Yeah.
Arms.
Yeah,
Oh
Arms.
man.
Arms got a 77, and I feel
Really?
like that is way too harsh for what, like,
Especially for being a Nintendo game where people are like, yeah,
to put
you
that
know.
into to put that into perspective, like a Mario sports game gets like a 77, dude. Like that's cringe. Like Arms was such a interesting game. I just think it was such a goofy game, and it's one of those beautiful games that only exist because Nintendo, one, had new hardware, and two, they had been in the Wii U era. so they were not afraid anymore to make games that will sell 2 copies, so they just made whatever the fuck they felt like, so they made Arms. And you will never get another Arms. You'll never get, when Switch 2 launches, you will not get a quirky game like Arms from Nintendo anymore, because they're now back to normal Nintendo. So it's just back to boring normal Nintendo.
In a lot of ways, conceptually, it almost feels like if you were allowed to move in Punch Out.
Yeah, I can
That's
see that.
basically what it is, yeah.
Yeah.
But no, it's I remember I've put like about 25 hours into Arms, give and take, all in all. So it's not a long time, but it was like I had a lot of fun. It's like it's not as replayable as Splatoon. It doesn't have that kind of staying power of Splatoon. But when it comes to just like a party fighting game, there's a lot of fun to be had with it, especially now with all of the content that they added years later. There's way more characters, there's way more arms to choose from, way more stages. The way they treated the game is just fun. It's just a lot of fun. Like the way that the maps work actually in fact impact the gameplay. A lot of stages in fighting games are just basically palette swabs, right? They're just
Yeah.
the same generic thing, but you go over and over again. Whereas in Arms, every stage is different, and the terrain just genuinely changes the gameplay because of the way the arms work with motion. Having one of them be a noodle kind of bowl like that means that, yeah, you're going to have weird angles and you're going to have to do weird things with your arms to get all the hits in properly. Having a level in this weird kind of sci-fi laboratory with all these test tubes in the middle of the room means that you have to swing your arms around the test tubes and stuff like that, and you can use them as defense. There's so much fun in Arms. There's the one where you're on the fucking Beyblades, dude. You're just standing on Beyblades and just spinning around, you know? There's so much random stuff in Arms, and there's so much fun to be had with it. It's very simple. It's rock, paper, scissors at the end of the day, you know? It is block, hit, or grab. But there's so much just fun to be had with it, where it's like, why the fuck did this get a 77 when there is so much worse that Nintendo has made since on Nintendo Switch that got higher? Like, there's so much creativity put into Arms that it's one of those few games where I'm like, damn, if any game deserved the Nintendo tax, it should have been Arms. You should have given that a few more points. I had a lot of fun with it, and I'd recommend it. It's probably not bought from Nintendo themselves, because Nintendo doesn't like discounting games, but if you want a second-hand copy on eBay, it's probably pretty cheap now because it's been out since launch, so you could probably get a cheaper copy. But you should check it out if you haven't already. Also, no, Nintendo, I say that, they probably went out of print and now it's worth $6 bajillion. I shouldn't actually...
That's probably true.
Let's have a look. Arms Switch. I can see you can get cartridge-only copies for like $15 here in the UK right now,
Yeah.
or with the box for like 25, 20. So it's
It's pretty low.
for Nintendo, pretty low. You should check it out if you haven't. It's a fun game. I like Arms. Yeah, that's all I have to say. I've made my case.
Yeah.
Right, we got one more round. Is that what we're doing? Is it one more round?
I think so.
Let's do one more round.
I'm on my last.
We'll do one more round, and Hunter's got someone that he wants to throw at the wall. We'll throw some at the wall. Okay?
All right.
Cool. Hunter, what have you got next?
So this one, yeah, I'm less advocating that it's a 7 out of 10 that deserved to be treated higher. It's more like it's about a 7 out of 10 that people acted like is real bad. Silent Hill: The Short Message came out earlier this year, and I feel like people are way too hard on it. Because, like, okay, it has several problems. The writing isn't great, but like conceptually, and as far as like tone and a vibe when you're walking around, it hits the oh, this is creepy, you know, like atmospherically it's really good. I think it's very solid. I think the enemy that chases you looks sweet. It's got a bunch of like sakura flowers petals growing out of its face. It moves at like the reduced frame rate, like the puppet in the Death Stranding 2 trailer when it approaches you. I think that's like real cool stuff. And the writing has a lot of problems. It's not the easiest thing to read or listen to as far as I feel like I was wincing almost every instance of dialogue at one point. But there's still something to it where it's like I can see what they were going for. And I respect what they were going for. It just didn't come across the best when they put it to, put the words to paper and all that. Like, it's people are like, oh, it's silly that you'd make a Silent Hill game about a teenager who's, broken by social media or something. I'm like, I don't know. The series is gone for
Could
long
work.
enough that it's like, it's fair enough to try that. Like, it wasn't as prevalent of
Yeah.
a thing back in 2012 or whenever the last one came out before PT. And like there's still something to it where it's like what they were trying to get across, I feel like rings true. It feels more genuine than, I don't know, just using the medium as an example. It feels more genuine than that. Or I think this is far better than the fiasco that is Silent Hill Ascension. So yeah, people were way too hard on that game, I think. Especially for something you can play for free and only takes like 2 hours.
I'll be honest, I forgot that came out this year.
Yeah.
So did I.
It
But
I think
it happened.
I think it released like 2 days before Persona did, and
Oh,
I was gonna play it, like I was gonna be like, oh, it's real short, I'll play it right before Persona, but I was tired, so I went to sleep instead and waited until after I beat Persona.
it's
But
and
yeah,
he slept for 2 days.
like it, but yeah, it's got its problems, but I feel like it's not as bad as people would lead you to believe.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Ethan, you're muted.
Sorry, Kyle. What's your final one?
2 weeks in a row, man.
You're
You're off your game.
Nah, I'm used to muting myself. What's up?
Mm.
What have you
Anyways.
got?
So my last one, a bit of a strange one, strange pick. It is a game on the PS1 called Rhapsody, a musical adventure. This is a PS1 RPG from NIS Studio. This was their first game ever released outside of Japan.
Is this
And
the origin story of that penguin from a couple weeks ago?
yes, this is why I
Yes!
knew what that penguin was. So, Rhapsody is a very simple, straightforward RPG where you play as this girl named Cornette, and basically
Nice.
the inciting action is that she is going through the forest. She's just walking in this forest and she gets saved by the prince of the kingdom. And from that point on, she is basically infatuated with him to where she enters this competition that the kingdom is holding to basically become the prince's wife. She ends up winning the competition but it gets interrupted when this evil witch comes down and basically turns the prince to stone and steals him away. So from then on, and that's basically what sets Cornette off on her journey. This is this game does something very unique where every so often it will stop and there will be this short little musical number that plays. The developer for this game, he said that his main inspiration for it was like Disney movies, and I was definitely picking up on that vibe as I was playing the game. It's it's a very cool video game that I feel like when it initially got released. So first off, first game released in America from NIS, did not even release in Europe at the
Hell
time.
yeah!
So way to go, Europe. Um, this game came out in Japan in 1998 and came out in America in 2000. The PS2 was well on its way at that point. I think it was coming out like in October of that year, and Rhapsody came out in July of that year. So the PS1 was already on its way out at that point. We were basically done with PS1 games. And like as far as PS1 RPGs go, you had like so many other options. You had 9 Final Fantasies just to just like as a benchmark, but I think that there is something to be said about Rhapsody. It's very simple, but it's also just like this really cute, comfy game where this kind of musical style is something I haven't seen another game really try, where they make it the main focus of the game, and they use like musical numbers to convey information. It's it's a really cool idea, and I was really surprised by how much I ended up liking it. It's available. The first game is available on PS1 and Steam. It is part of it is a trilogy. Second game second and third game got released as a bundle on PlayStation 5 as well, but they never PS5 never got the first game. I don't know why, but
Why are they like this?
I don't know why they're like this. But I really liked the first game. Second game kind of hit or miss, and I haven't gotten around to playing the third game yet. But first game very solid, very much recommend. It's very short as well for an RPG. It's I think my playthrough was under 15 hours. It's it's not a difficult game to play. I'll say this though, there were several times where I had to go dig out a map from 2002 from GameFAQs to navigate a dungeon
Hell
because the
yeah.
game doesn't give you any map, and my sense of direction was not what it used to be. So, but no, it's cute. I really enjoyed my time with it. And also, keep your eyes peeled for our website because I am working on writing an article about these 3 games. So,
Huh?
Oh, neat.
that will get done sometime.
Sometime. You love to see it.
I just need to play the third game and it's basically done at that point.
Woo.
Woo. Sounds good. Right. For my final one, I feel like I need to put a asterisk on this one. I haven't played this video game,
Hell
but
yeah.
I feel like it needs to be mentioned. Because I feel like this game was treated harshly. Its sequel got cancelled because
Oh,
it didn't
yeah, here
review
we go.
very well.
I
Days
have this
Gone.
too. Yeah.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
Days Gone. What the I still here's the thing is I still don't understand how it's a 71. I still don't understand how Days Gone was a 71. I don't. Like I'd
Yeah.
understand it being a low 80 or even a high 70. 71? Like I still
Like,
sit here going cuz here's the thing is
it
it's not
was
just I'm not
messy
even
at launch, but it wasn't like game. Like nothing prevented me from progressing or anything. It had funny things happen. Like I was able to run at a horde and it despawned. That was funny. Like, come on, that doesn't do anything to prevent me from enjoying the game.
Mm.
And I
No.
know that some people were like, "Oh, people are just tagging on to Days Gone for the sake of tag." But it's like, no, I've had friends who really liked Days Gone who didn't disagree with it. My dad really liked Days Gone. Like he really liked Days Gone. It's like
I
one
think
of the
Days
only
Gone was
PlayStation
alright.
exclusives that he properly finished. Is the dialogue a bit cringe sometimes? Very much.
It goes on a little too long. Yeah.
Yeah, like every PlayStation exclusive. But a
Yeah, that's true.
71?
Like, all of them have a pacing
Like,
issue.
like I feel like it's just really bizarre that this game got a 71, especially when it's like let's look at the other game. Even Detroit Become Fucking Human got a 78.
Oh,
Oh
man.
God. Yeah, that doesn't make sense. Come on.
Oops.
Like it's like come the
Detroit
fuck
smells.
on.
Detroit Become
Yeah.
Human smells.
It
Detroit
does.
smells.
And now, again, looking back on it, let's look at Days Gone now. 5 years after it came out. Not only did they fix a lot of the issues with the game, thanks to back compat on PS5, it now basically runs flawlessly. You've got a really good game that a lot of people really care about, especially after the PC port, really care about Days Gone. And now what do we get? No sequel because Sony doesn't want to take risks on it.
And like, I don't know. I kind of like that Days Gone feels a little rough. It feels like it's not been aggressively focus tested, and I kind of like it for that.
I'm telling you now, Days Gone was a franchise that even though people didn't all agree and didn't necessarily like as much as other PlayStation studios, if they had gotten a second shake at it, I feel like they would have nailed it. I feel like they would have really have made something special.
Really good improvement.
Yeah,
like see, games should get sequels even though they don't knock it out of the park the first time.
Yeah.
You shouldn't expect people to knock it out of the park first time. 100%. Here's the Horizon Zero Dawn has plenty of issues that I don't like about that game, and a lot of the things that I didn't like about the first one, they managed to rectify and fix in the second. And it's like, I feel like you need that chance to learn and grow and develop. That's perfectly fine. You don't have to knock it out. Not everybody is going to knock it out of the park straight away, first time, nailed it, mate. They just don't.
The most recent example of this for me was like the Plague Tale games, the two of those. Like, I think the first one was good. Like, it was like, oh, it's, you guys really liked The Last of Us, and you made a game that was kind of like The Last of Us, but a little more stealthy. And then I think that Requiem was amazing. I like it more than either Last of Us game.
Yeah.
Which isn't as, like, insane of a thing for me to say as it might be to hear from, like, games media people in general, but, I still think it was really good.
Yeah.
It's great.
A great example for me is Uncharted 1 is the most fucking bare bones game that I've ever played in my life, where it's like it worked but barely and fucking roughly, where it's like there's so many sections on Uncharted 1 that are really rough. The jet ski sections and all that jazz, hate them. Very bad. Uncharted 2.
Towards the end of the game, I really got it. Towards the end of the first one, I started really getting upset when they asked me to shoot things.
Uncharted 2, fantastic. It's like, again, it built off of everything that worked well on the first one and then took all the shit out of it and made it great, and it's fantastic. By the way, Uncharted 1, when it came out on the PS3, got an 88. Just put that into fucking perspective. Yeah.
An 88?
An 88. Very favourable for that. So this is why I say, yet again, why the fuck did everyone have such a...
I by far like Days Gone more than Uncharted, the first one.
It's like, yeah, but like, why did people hate it so much? I just don't understand it. As someone who hasn't played the game and the only things that I've heard is secondhand experiences from people who really liked it. Why? Just why? I don't get it. At least a 78. Like, come on. What the fuck? So anyway, Days Gone deserves more love, and I'm glad that the fans of the game have kept it alive and have sung its praises, to be honest, because God help Bend. I feel like they've had a rough shake, really, and now it looks like they're making a live service game, so congratulations.
Oh, no. Poor
Thanks,
Sony.
Sony.
The Sony pipeline.
The Sony pipeline, ladies and gentlemen. Single-player game cancelled, making fucking games as a service, please.
Get halfway through that, cancel that, and now you're back to square one.
Hell yeah, fair games, everybody. I can't wait for fair game $, dude. It's going to be fantastic.
I feel like we're hitting a point where the ones that are announced now are the only live service games that are really gonna get out before changing their mind.
6 before 20. What was it? 6. What was it? 13 before the end of 2025, and so far we've had Helldivers 2. Like, there we go.
It's doing really good for itself, to be fair, but I don't feel like the
again,
other ones are not gonna hit.
I feel like that's the exception, not the norm.
Here's the thing: Arrowhead, though. That's what they make. Really they make games as a service. Yeah. Helldivers 1 was a online game.
Yeah.
They're built for this. Sony Bend made Days Gone. And they made, they made a load of... Well, Bend made a load of, like, portable games beforehand, right?
Yeah,
it's like...
The Siphon Filter series.
An Uncharted Golden Abyss. It's
like... It's still teed up to, like... Metal Gear Solid still hasn't come back. Besides the old games. Perfect Space to Occupy.
Gosh, I really wish Days Gone was treated better than it was, dude. Because it's like, it's like, it was 2019. It's that year. It's the start of the downfall of Sony in a way, where it was like, Fuck you. Days Gone 2 cancelled. Japan Studio. Fuck off. Games as service. Let's go. Like, it's just like
Yep.
bad decisions, man. Bad decisions. And it's all your fault, games critics. It's all your fault. No one else's. Your fault.
If only Days Gone got an 80.
If
We'd
only
be
Days
living
Gone
the
got an
dream right
80.
now.
That would have kept PlayStation from having a big head.
Guys, if Days Gone got an 80, those Little Big Planet servers, they'd still be up. Just
We'd
saying.
still
like,
have Japan Studios and we'd be getting Gravity Rush 4.
This is
Oh,
that meme of the
damn, bro.
dominoes.
Yeah. Sucks to suck, and it's all
Actually,
your fault.
what did Gravity Rush score? That was probably low. Gravity Rush deserves to be on here too.
No, Gravity Rush was
the first one
critically
got an
loved. as
Oh,
far as I
was it?
remember.
It feels
Yeah.
like the kind of thing
Gravity
that
Rush
wouldn't be.
1, 83, Gravity Rush 2, and
Yeah.
80.
Ah, damn. Good job, Gravity Rush. You avoided the list.
I checked them earlier because I felt like that was something, critical.
Yeah, it had that kind of vibe to it.
You
They're like
avoided the
critics of
list, and
PS
what do you
Vita
win?
game.
Well, you avoided the list, and what do you win? Never being seen ever again. Salu, it was nice knowing you. I can't wait for the live-action movie, guys. I love
Oh.
PlayStation Productions. My favorite.
Toodaloo.
Anyway, Hunter, do you have a couple that you wanted to wrap up with? Just a couple of quick shout-outs?
Oh yeah. All right. So I think I've got like 2 left here. Ikenfell was a cool
I've
tactical
heard of that.
RPG indie game that came out in 2020. I want to say I liked it quite a bit. It had cool magic stuff. It was one of those like very heartfelt type of games. When you get through it, I feel like the characters are all really neat. The next one, Cris Tales. I really liked that game. I got a review about it.
I
Go-
played that one.
I still stand by that one, so go watch the review to keep this brief. I think the very visually striking. I think the time mechanics were cool.
Yeah.
Cris Tales was alright.
Yeah.
As someone who didn't play a lot of it and also did not finish it.
As
it was
someone who
alright.
edited the review of Cris Tales, I got sick of the fucking soundtrack by the time I was done editing after 8 hours because I hadn't played the game myself, so I had to go and look for it myself. So I was listening to the same 3 songs over and over again. Art style's cool though. I liked the art style.
Yeah, it's cool art style. It's got a frog with a top hat.
They did have a frog with a top hat,
Basically peak character design.
and there you
Yeah.
go.
Frog top hat. Great stuff.
What can we say? It's just that great. Anyway, we're done. That's a load of games that we think deserved better than they got. What games do you want to mention? Let us know. There's so many more we could have talked about. Could have said Crash Twinsanity, guys. Crash Twinsanity deserved better.
I
but
watched
also,
a video.
It was a glitchy mess.
Where someone ranked like every game in the series, including like all the stupid cell phone games that apparently existed.
Oh, hell yeah.
And Twinsanity was like 23 or something out of like 25. I'm like, that is
Ew.
madness.
What?
That is actual madness.
How to tell that you don't have a fucking funny bone in your body, dude. That's like, yeah. That's crazy.
I was
Nah.
like, I didn't know about half of these phone games, and there's no way they're better.
No.
I can at
They're
least
not.
I can at least think of 3 games that are better than Crash Twinsanity. At least 3. Come on. But no. This was fun. I'm gonna wrap it up now because I'm exhausted and we've talked enough.
Hell yeah.
Next week, video games, ladies and gentlemen. We have got
They return.
all your favorites, dude. All your future favorites. The games that you'll be playing for the next month until Paper Mario comes out. So, come back next week. We'll be talking about all of them. I would be scared to got Tales of Kenzera's. Is it Kenzera's? We got
Yeah.
we got
Ayuden Chronicle,
Ayuden
Stellar
Chronicle,
Blade,
Stellar Blade, and
Crab Game.
Krabby Game,
Crab's
yeah.
Treasure.
Mr. Krabs.
Mr. Crab has
Penny
an
Pincher
adventure.
Adventures.
Yeah, with a spork. Anyway. We'll talk about all of those next week. But yeah, until then, thank you so much for listening and watching. We'll be back same time, same place next week for all of that jazz. But until then, have an awesome week. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Bye.
See ya.